Hey everyone, welcome back to Carrie's Thrifty Farmhouse. If you like decorating on a budget, you're in the right place. Today I'm excited to participate in the Valentine's DIY challenge hosted by Heidi Sonboul. I'll link her channel in the description box below, as well as the playlist for the challenge. So be sure to check out her channel and then follow the playlist to see what everyone comes up with. If you enjoy this video, I would love for you to like, comment, and hopefully subscribe so I can grow my channel. So with all the formalities out of the way, let's get started. For my first project today, I'm going to create some really cute Valentine's crates using all Dollar Tree products. I'll start out by painting these small heart cutouts with white chalk paint. I used Rust-Oleum white linen, but you can use whatever you have on hand. You'll see later that I didn't paint the backs, but don't forget to get the sides because they will be visible in the final product. Next, I'm using these cute little yellow roses to make a border around the heart. I did have to snip off the part at the bottom of the flower that attaches to the stems so that the flowers would lay flat on the board. But besides that, this was super easy and they attached well to the boards, and this came together really quickly. Next, I'm painting the flowers with white chalk paint. I started by using a stencil pouncer to paint the surface of the flowers. Then I used a small brush to paint the petals and down into all the nooks and crannies. There were some spots where yellow peeked through a bit, but I was fine with that as it added a little dimension. After painting the inside of the flowers, I made sure to paint the outside around the border and on the inside border as well. Next, I snagged two of the cute little wooden crates from Dollar Tree, and I'm painting them with the same white linen chalk paint. Since the wood is a light color, it only took one coat to get good coverage. Then I just added floral foam and used the same stems from the roses I used on the boards to fill the crates. There were two types of stems, a fern-looking one and then stems with leaves, so I just strategically placed all the ferns first and then filled in with the other stems. I decided to use command Velcro to attach the hearts to the crates. This is so that I can switch out the hearts for something else if I want to later in the year. The heart was taller than the crate, so I just made sure to put the Velcro in the middle of the heart so that when it was lined up with the other Velcro, it wouldn't prevent the crate from sitting flat on a surface. And here they are. I just love how these turned out. They're the perfect size for a windowsill or a small sink, and I think the painted flowers are the perfect winter version of a floral. I thought about adding a word to the center of the boards, but I just wasn't sure. So let me know in the comments below if you think I should add something. My next project is a trash to treasure of sorts. I had this leftover container from a family-sized takeout meal, and I thought I could make it look like enamelware for a coffee table centerpiece. I started out by painting the container with the same Rust-Oleum white linen chalk paint. I do recommend using chalk paint for this project and not just regular acrylic craft paint, because chalk paint is thicker and adheres better to plastic. Because the container was black, it did take 2 coats to get good coverage. Next, I wanted to make the characteristic black edges you see in enamelware, so I used a Sharpie along the edges. You don't have to make a perfectly straight line. In fact, I purposely made the lines a little jagged so that it looked weathered. Perfectly imperfect, as they say. When I started to fill in with a Sharpie, I realized it was taking way too long, so I ended up switching to a black acrylic craft paint, and that worked really well and I made much quicker progress. Then I decided to make some stuffed hearts to fill my container. I recently went to Volunteers of America on their half-off day and snagged several sweaters and fleece lounge pants for really cheap that I thought would be fun for Valentine's Day. I started out by cutting a pattern out of cardstock and traced it onto the fabric. I'm never good at lining things up quickly when there's hot glue involved, so I found it easier to cut the shape out of just one piece first and just cut a square the approximate size of the heart out of the second piece. Then I glued along the edge of the first piece and laid the other piece on top. After the glue dried, I cut along the glue line and trimmed off the excess fabric from the second piece. Just make sure that you leave a gap in the glue so that you can turn the fabric around. I found it easiest to leave a space at the bottom of one of the flat sides. Take your time turning the fabric around. Even though the glue holds well, it still isn't quite as strong as thread. Then you can stuff it with whatever you have on hand. For some of the pieces I used leftover plastic grocery bags, but our grocery bags are blue in our area, and I was afraid they would show through with this knitted white sweater fabric, so I just stuffed it with the excess pieces I had trimmed off. Then just glue the opening shut and repeat with the other fabrics. I made 2 different sizes to have some variety and used the board hearts from the previous project as a pattern for the smaller size. And here they are. I love these. The sweater hearts are so warm and cozy, and I love the pink and gray fleece pattern especially. I just hope my dog doesn't discover them because they'd probably end up a tattered mess on the floor. And I think I did a pretty good job mimicking the look of enamelware. Not bad for a container destined for the trash. For my last project, I'm just making some super simple signs using Dollar Tree frames. I picked out these 4x6 frames because I really liked how the frames were a little deeper and also that they had these angled sides. I deconstructed them and painted both the frames and the glass with, you guessed it, Rust-Oleum white linen chalk paint. Once the paint dried, I added my lettering. Since I was just doing XOXO and I Heart You, I thought I could freehand it in a Ray Dunn style lettering myself, but I didn't trust myself to do it straight onto the surface. So first I wrote the words on a piece of scrap notebook paper. Then I used my favorite Arteza carbon paper to transfer the lettering to the frames. Then I went over the lettering with silver Sharpie. I decided to dress up the frame with some ribbon around the outside edge. I used this really pretty silver ribbon with a thin stripe down the middle. I just used my glue gun to attach it and started and ended on the bottom side so that it looked nice and finished. Next, I added some embellishments. I just used some lamb's ear and some white berries from my floral stash. I believe they were both from my Joann Fabrics haul from earlier this season when I got lots of florals for buy one, get 2 free. And here they are on my bathroom counter, a super simple way to add a little Valentine flair to any room. You may notice that I added a simple bow to the corners of the frames, and I think that was the perfect thing to complete the look. Thanks for joining me today. If you found me from Heidi's Valentine DIY Challenge playlist, I'd love for you to stick around and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the notification button so you can stay up to date with my content. I have lots more projects in store for the winter season that you won't want to miss, so stay tuned for those. See you next time. Bye.